Hello, my lovelies. Jenny O here, the author with no last name. And today I want to go over a Kickstarter for Dead Pets Unleashed. So just a word of warning, I don't have a script in front of me, so this could get a little, try not to wander too far off the subject. And I just want to go over this from a marketing standpoint. I am not a backer of this game. They have not paid me to advertise their game. So, just so you know, I have no financial investment in going over this Kickstarter. Once again, just because a game has good or bad marketing doesn't mean it's a good or bad game. So, a bad game can be marketed really well and a great game can be marketed really badly. So this is kind of like the end point of, marketing, is making this type of Kickstarter or similar pitch. So the reason why I'm doing this is I am actually working on a tutorial, and I have gotten towards the end of the tutorial where, I'm actually talking about pitching in the tutorial, and I needed to go to Kickstarter, and I was like, I need to know what goes in these Kickstarter pitches so I can, put this up in my tutorial. And I ran across this one, Dead Pets Unleashed, and I thought, wow, this is a really well put together pitch. So I want to go over it with you guys so we can discuss why it works. So Dead Pets Unleashed is, which is not here on the thing, it's a slice of life narrative and management light game about a struggling punk rock band. Get ready to unleash your inner demon. And then it has the rock symbol with the hand and then a skull emoji, which is really awesome. Now this is what that right there under the title, this is called a log line. Now the log line is something really short to catch your attention, and it should tell you exactly what the game is and what exactly should make you excited about this game. So they've told us exactly what the game is. It's about a struggling punk rock band, and then you get ready to unleash your inner demon. So for their thumbnail, they have a thumbnail here on a video, and so this thumbnail is in that log line is what shows up in the search function. So this is a really, really awesome looking thumbnail. Okay, we have exactly from the log line, we have a group of demons. They are dressed in punk attire, and they're, and there's a logo in the corner to show us that this is going to have a very punk rock aesthetic, which punk rock is a very niche kind of rock genre, and 1970s. It's gone through a couple different phases since then, and you got your classic punk and then your new wave punk that came over to the States, and it's all about rebelling against the kind of the authority. It was, since it started in England, rebelling against the classist society there, and in some ways, the establishment of state law like marriage. So, leather coats, Doc Martens, sometimes you could go a little into the glam aesthetic, mostly not, but lots of studs, very, very niche, very kind of a fun thing that, influenced a lot of different other genres, like I said, from classic rock to glam rock to later grunge. So, it should be fun. Should be fun. So, a punk rock demons also kind of appropriate, you know. So we move down, and the first thing they're going to tell you is that there is a demo on Steam. This is really good. This means if you are, you know, they have something to show for their work. They put enough work into this that you can go and play a part of the game right now, and that's really good. That means there's a proof of concept, there's a proof of product. And the other thing is they have their banners. Not only are their banners kind of like this this kind of swipe paint aesthetic, not really graffiti spray paint, but more like a swiped brush aesthetic. They're also animated, so it's got this little skull here on the right, and it's going around and round. Not every single banner is animated, but enough of them are, and that is a really cool touch because people were going to see this object in motion and they're going to look at it, and I love this little skull. I do. I think that's adorable with the little horns, and it's just great. Okay, so all the banners are very similar. They have the same type of brushed paint aesthetic to them, and the font looks like a chalk paint font, a chalkboard font. It's something similar to like what I use on my on my thumbnails. So, you know, you're thinking, okay, punk rock band, so this could be like black chalk paint, and they're writing on it with a chalk. You know, because you're going and playing gigs, and they're going to have, you know, either on a chalkboard inside or on a street board, you know, that these are the people playing today, and it's the band Dead Pets. So we move further down to this GIF of, or GIF, depending on how you pronounce it, of what looks like to be one of the main characters. And we get into the copy. Now, this is where a lot of people stumble in a pitch, is the copy. So writing good copy is a skill. And don't feel bad if you have a hard time with it. So this copy gets us right into what is this game about and what are we going to be doing. So struggling punk rock band Dead Pets are still looking through their breakthrough after almost 10 years. Gordy has big plans for the group, but when you turn 30, life starts to get in the way. Yeah, ain't that the truth? It could be Jordy too. I'm not sure. I think in the future I'll say Jordy over Gordy. I guess. Dead Pets Unleashed is a feminist narrative slice of life and management-like game about punk, music, friendship, and growing up. Get ready to unleash your inner demon, which is obviously their fantasy tagline here, the unleash your inner demon. So, playing as Jordy, you'll go to band practice, do what you can to keep the band together, manage Jordy's irresponsible finances and well-being, as well as find time to earn enough money to cover rent, bills, and pretty much everything. So, right there in those 2 paragraphs, we know what the game is going to be about, and we know exactly, in a way, what's coming up in the game. So, so this is kind of the first paragraph is tell us what you're going to tell us, and then tell us again. It's the third paragraph. So they gave us a little story here, and then they gave us an information, and then an information as in, a list of what the game is, with the fantasy tagline, and then they gave us, in a narrative way, kind of what you're going to be doing in the game. Okay, and it's not kind of like it's not precisely a list of the game mechanics, because they're not telling us how we're going to go to get brand practice, what the mechanic for game practice is, but it's in a, so we know that we're going to have to be talking to the other, to the NPCs somehow. We're going to be keeping track of the money, and doing some sort of work. if you're like, well, this sounds like life. Well, yes, it's a life management thing. There we go. So then they tell you that they've made games before, and and it says, dive into the demon world of New Void City and give your childhood dreams one last chance. So now we have the stakes. This is our last chance as a punk rock band to become big before we quit. Which is sad. So you kind of feel invested in what Jordy's doing. Alright, so we have this picture of Good Morning New Void City, which is a Good Morning Vietnam reference, which is really awesome. If you don't know that. Okay, so we've had enough pictures now. I can kind of talk about the color palette they've chosen. They've chosen like 3 to 5 colors to represent the game in this pitch. So we have this kind of a pinky color, this darkish maroon color, a purpley blue color, and then we also have yellow and one like an orange. So with like this kind of blue being this light blue being kind of a highlight over there. So if you notice it, as you scroll down, you're gonna see these colors be reused over and over and over again, which ties the entire pitch together and gives you kind of this feeling of the tone of what the game's gonna be like. It's very well done. Kudos to them. I mean, double thumbs up from me. And in a way, this is also it is a very rock type of color palette too. I am really impressed they didn't go for the traditional red, black, and white kind of thing, but having the pinks and the purples, it gives a very definite tone to the game. So now they're going to talk about the features of the game. The features doesn't have a little, it doesn't have a moving picture, but that's okay. So the first thing I want to tell you that this is a punk rock game with a killer soundtrack. Always good to know. If you're making a game about music, you better have really good music. It says mini games for days. They love mini games, so they have working shift at a diner, playing a gig, making hot dogs. That's only 3 mini games. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to start feeling stale after a long period of time or not. But what I will notice is when I went over this before, they have 2 backer rewards where you can help them design a minigame. So that will be 5 minigames plus, dressing up your character. So kind of like 6 there, I guess. So that is actually a decent amount of minigames. And then the setting's going to be Demon City, so New Void City, NPCs with their own storylines. So, you have a choice of how to spend your free time, and it's going to have multiple endings. So it's a story-based game with multiple endings. Always good. That means there's replayability. And then it says they tell you who it's cartoonish inspirations. So the fans of BoJack Horseman and Tuca and Birdie. So colorful, surreal worlds, long-term and complicated adult friends, zany, offbeat humor. This is really good for Amazon, Google's SEO stuff. I'm not sure how great it is for actual marketing. This type of comparison stuff really depends on how many people have watched BoJack Horseman and done and watched Tuca and Birdie. So if you haven't watched those things, it's not going to mean anything to you. But so far the pitch is strong enough, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter that you haven't watched it if you haven't watched those things. So the game so far is standing on its own. The pitch so far is standing on its own. So then managing your choices, once again, we're going back into the different endings things. So every choice will affect what's going on, band power, her well-being, social points, and her money. it's a life management game, so you get to manage her life in, which will affect the ending. Okay. So we have a picture here. She's supposed to promise her friend she's going to pay the rent, and this will help get her social points or negative social points. She's got to work hard to make sure she still is on good terms with her friends. Mixing business and friends and all living situations together is something really tough to juggle. So good that they're tackling that. So now the next thing is the character. So meet the dead pets. It's got some flames here on the banner. So Jordy. And now, once again, they've kept this kind of same color palette. Now we get to see some concept art, and this is kind of more artistic concept art. So, she's got an interesting background. We got the rats coming out, and then the name, Jordy's name, is on top of one of those paint brush strokes, which references the banners. Very good. And then it tells us the age and what she plays and her pronouns and, something a little bit about her. So you can get invested into her as a character. And then it goes to the rest of the bandmates, sticking still with the same color palette and the same idea. And everyone's just one's a little different, and they switch them back and forth the sides of where the writing is on, which creates a flow. Okay, so we have Jay, and we have Vel, and we have Brian. So the top 1, 2, 3 are done in that blue color palette with purple and just a little bit of yellow as some accents, and then with Brian here is done in the yellow and the orange and the red, because he's yellow and red and orange, so he looks really good in those colors. So you don't want, so to have, he's like the opposite color of the other 3, which is, a really good contrast. So, and then they show you some more concept art of the supporting cast, and then we go straight to the gameplay, which they have a person using the controller here, and they tell us once again that it's going to be a narrative, slice of life, mini games, and management system game, which they say is a perfect mix of genres. Those 3 genres, those categories do go well together. Yeah, we're playing as Jordy, and we're going to travel around New Void City. We can visit the record store, go to the best dive bar, a parent's house, band practice, interactions, So there's going to be plenty of places to go, and then they have mini games. So then now they're actually going to show us these mini games in a moving picture here, which is really kind of cool. So as you can see, we can change the clothes. We can work at a diner mini game. We can make hot dogs, just kind of interesting. And then we're at band practice, it looks like. And then there's some sort of dating app maybe, and watering the plants. Okay. So I think the diner minigame is probably going to be and the band minigame is going to be like the real draw here. So I hope there's a couple more minigames like that added from other people. And lastly, they're saying, oh, you have to keep track of the money, which is something pretty typical in a simulation game. So, so we're going over the story again. Okay, so we're really kind of pushing the themes here. They talked about us in the opening. They talked about the themes of the story, which is, growing up and kind of, whether or not you're going to give up on your dreams type of thing. So they're telling us it again. So really driving the theme, core value of the game home. This is something this is something you really, really have to do in a pitch. You really want people to get focused on something and be excited about it, okay? So the pets push for the final shot at success before they call it quits on the dream. So that's, they're telling you what the core value of the game is. You gotta, do you give it your all, give it one last push, and try to make it to success, which is kind of hard in the punk rock scene. Well, it's hard in most music scenes, but the punk rock scene is almost as niche as jazz. And or do you have to? Is it time to move on and see what you want to do next? So everything in here, is bold. It's like it's going to affect. It's about the management section. It's telling you about the management system of the game. And like how these are the different factors coming up in her life. Okay. And here we go. You get to choose her priorities. Will she grow? Which way will she go? Multiple endings again. They need to find a manager, write a killer EP, and play the best gigs of their life. So that's the 3 goals of the game. Unleash your inner demon and give your dreams one last chance. So once again, they throw in the fantasy tagline, and they tell you the stakes of the game. So here are your goals, here's your fantasy tagline, here's your stakes. Very well done. So here, but they also are going to give us content warning. They say, back up here, they say Jordy struggles with what it means to be a victim. So then down here, they put in a content warning. It's going to deal with sexual harassment. And this is actually something I find really important. I know a lot of people don't care for content warnings, but there are people out there who either do not want to play a game or read a book or watch a movie with this type of content in it, or there are people who would be very uncomfortable. I hesitate to use the word triggered, but when I use triggered, I do mean it in the PTSD way. It could bring back memories of something they've gone through. So I approve of content warnings. If there is something in my books that I feel deserves a content warning, I do put a content warning in just for the people who want them. You can ignore them if you don't like them. So I approve of them putting this content warning in. I think it's a very brave decision to try to address sexual harassment, something that happens a lot to women, especially in the bar scene, in a video game. So really good choice on their part, in my opinion. And they say they're bringing in a consultant to make sure the storyline is handled well. That's also good. You can tell that they really do have good intentions, and I hope it turns out well for them. And then they're going to talk about the setting for a while. They show us a picture of what the map's going to kind of look like, we think. This is not like an open world game, so you'll be traveling around the map, it looks like, via, different signs. And then they explain what their fantasy tagline is about. So it is not uncommon to unleash your inner demon. So this can happen unconsciously when overwhelmed with love, grief, joy, or anger. And artists will unleash their inner demon when performing for intense energy on stage. Always really cool to have your fantasy tagline tie into an actual game mechanic with a visual, as we can see here in this moving picture, a visual consequence that the player can see. That's just really cool. So it might look like a human world, but it's inhabited by demons, and there are 4 different types of demons, which is, so they tell you what they are. And then they go on to explain the soundtrack, who it was done by, and who's going to be singing as Vel there. And they have a full single out on YouTube already, in case you're worried, is this punk game really going to be punk? You can go listen to it. So, and then they start to get into the rewards. So they have decided to do some physical rewards along with their digital rewards. They're putting together a punk zine, which is really cool, which you can get digitally, and I think they might have a physical copy of it at some point. They're putting together patches, which is going to include artwork from the game. They're putting together enamel pins, which again includes artwork from the game and the game's logo, which is bright pink and black color. I know some people are like, punk rock being black and pop pink is so overdone. It's just, yeah, I know, but so is black and red. Get over it, you know? And the guitar pick necklace with art, band art on it, that is a really, really kind of a cool idea and also relatively cheap idea to make good merchandise. Some picks are a lot more expensive than others, but yeah, it's you know, that's really cool kind of tie-in here. We know not everybody, you know, plays guitar. Maybe you want to have, you know, some sort of band-related merchandise, so here we can make it a necklace, or you can take it off and use it as a guitar pick. Double whammy. And then they're going to have stickers and t-shirts. So these are really good kind of physical rewards that, on top of having the game and everything else, are going to allow people to help them with the game. I think they have a reward here that's going to, you know, they have a reward that you can get your portrait done as a person in, you know, as one of the demons in the game. You know, you can design an outfit for Gordy, you can design an NPC, and then you can help design the mini game. So this merchandising really does help flesh out your brand. There's something physical for other people to see, so they can put it, you know, you put it on your clothes. They go out in the world, somebody sees your enamel pin, and then you get to tell them all about this cool game you backed on Kickstarter. It's going to be available on Steam, called Dead Pets. You know, and that is really good marketing. Just nice word of mouth marketing versus something on YouTube or on Twitter, whatever. I mean, there is something to be said about having some physical marketing out in the world versus just doing 100% digital, controlled by the algorithms marketing. And lastly, I really appreciate that they've done this kind of same thing with their, it's kind of clear to, you can see what they mean, what all the rewards are going to be, in a row here with the little pictures. You know, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, so everything gets a little smaller, you know. And then here at the bottom, they talk about the dev team and how many games they've worked on and where they are and stuff like that. And they have portraits of the team. And here's what's really important about these portraits of this particular team. They're in the same color palette as the rest of the Kickstarter. So we open up with this color palette and we close with this color palette with the dev pictures. Very important, and very well done. I mean, you could use photographs and stuff like that. I really think that this kind of modern art style with the bright colors serves them very well. And they do go over the budget, and I want to point out that they have a co-writer and a narrative designer and a storyboard artist. So this is, if your game is at all focused on story, that's the three kind of things I'm going to be looking for. Do you have a narrative designer, writer? Do you have, you know, who's working on this team to help you figure this out? And do you have a storyboard artist to be able to chart the flow of the different storylines? Okay, so their budget, you know, they have art 20%, animation 25%, programming, rewards, fees, design and writing 15%. It's right there in their budget. Yay! So, and then they have you tell you know, this is when we plan to have it done and why Kickstarter. Once again, they tell you can wish list it on Steam. Always important, kind of push you towards the Steam so that they can show Steam that we have numbers of people interested in our game. And then, you know, Dead Pets Unleashed in fire with the logo. That's so, you know, that's so cool. Okay. And of course, and they have the risks and challenges section, which, they don't think there's a huge amount of risk with this, but, you never know what's going on. So, I am very impressed with this particular Kickstarter because it basically found the focus of the game, what is really exciting about this game to them, and it just kept hammering at it. If I had an extra $5, $10, $20, I would definitely put some money towards this game. I mean, I like life management sims. I like these, I like playing little diner games, but I just, I like little diner games where I can leave the diner. So, like, if I had a little extra money, yeah, I would be putting money towards this because it's a very well done pitch, and, like they're saying, well, we've done other games before. You can play our other games on Steam, so there's, some sort of, there is a consolation that, you will get what you're paying for, basically. You will get a little game out of this project. But once again, okay, to sum this up, they used a consistent color palette. All their banners and stuff were similar, using the same style and the same logo fonts, and they were cool because, they had that little extra bit of coolness because they were animated, and they also told you about the story and told you what you were going to do in the game in a narrative way instead of giving you a complete and, here's a list of mechanics. They got into what was going to be exciting and fun about this game right away. They didn't talk about themselves. They didn't make a list of mechanics. They just got, so Jordy wants to, is part of this band, and she's turning 30, and she still really wants to make it big in the punk rock scene. This is their last chance. Are they going to make it, or are they going to end up breaking up and, going their separate ways? And in the band scene, while remaining friends, or maybe if you mismanage it enough, you won't be friends anymore. So very, very, and very, very important is they told us what they were going to tell us. They told us again, and then they told us what they told us. Okay, very persuasive, very well done pitch. So I don't know. I mean, I hope that me kind of rambling will help you. And you go, Jenny, you just gave away your tutorial. You're giving away the store. And I want to have, be able to have videos of good and bad examples of pitches on Kickstarter. I'm not here endorsing this game. They're not paying me to endorse this game. I haven't put any money towards this game. I just saw this pitch on Kickstarter and I was just really, really super impressed with it. So, I want to share it with you guys because this is how you market a game. Okay? This is how you persuade people to buy into your product. So, thanks for listening. Take care. Blessed. Stay safe. And I will see you in the next video.